Well, let's get started. I don't want to penalize people who are on time to see folks on Zoom and a lot of folks in the class. I'm going to get started. I'm much better in person, but I understand Zoom's a good option as well. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alan Wang, and I think everyone knows me, but next month, I'll be 20 years in the business, 20 years in about a couple of weeks. I've been doing this a long time. I love what I do. I own this office in Santa Clara that you're in as well. I'm an investor in the Thrive Cupertino office as well. And I run a mega team, and I'm very blessed to do that. I used to work at LinkedIn. You heard my plug team meeting yesterday about that. And literally, I connected with 6 people at an event last night at my Haas Berkeley alumni group on LinkedIn, and I swapped 6 phone numbers. And so it's really important. So check the Facebook internal group for my training. And there's another training I think somebody posted on that. Hi, Raymond. Well, you're here to learn about building teams. And I will tell you, everything I'm teaching you is out of this red book. If you really want a red book, come talk to Eric. I think we have a lot, or Alexa. I think we have a bunch in here. But you actually have to read it. Right? Everything is in here. And I'm telling you, I made that mistake of not reading the book before I started building my team. And oh my gosh, I'm going to cover a lot of the mistakes that I made when I started building a team. I think it's important to learn from those that came before us. And that's what this book is all about. It goes through a lot of top teams and the lessons they learned and how they found and the mistakes that they made, and they built a model for you on that. So first things first, I do want to talk, there are some new agents in the room. I want to address this. There's some items I think is funny about being in real estate. A lot of people get into real estate because the first thing they go, oh, it's easy money. It's easy money. Oh, in the Bay Area. One house sells 25, 30K, 35K. Oh my gosh, I don't have to sell a few houses. So easy. I think it's such an easy money, easy job. Flexible schedule. Yeah, we know it's flexible, but let's be honest, we work a lot, right? It's flexible. Yes, you can go pick up your kid, but it's also 11:30 p.m. at night, and you're getting called on Sunday to show a house on the Sunday. So there is flexibility, but if you do get good at what you do, it gets a little rough. This is my favorite. I love looking at open houses. So why do you want to be a realtor? I love looking at open houses. Cool. There's a lot more to this business than just looking at open houses. You all know that, right? It really just cracks me up when people say that to me. That's great. That's a small part of the job. All my friends will use me. Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. It might take some time for that. So top 5 myths of being an agent. I think you probably all know that about these myths. But I do love being an agent. I want to tell you why. You all know this because you're realtors. I hope you love what you do. You're helping people with the biggest transaction of their lives. They may only do 1 or 2 of them in their lives. And it's a big deal. That's a big responsibility. We're like Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. And I take that very seriously. I know all of you do as well. The second thing I love about this business is it's a people business. If you don't like people, wrong business, right? Wrong business. You have to love people. It's an extroverted business. Whether you're an extrovert or you're an introvert that's trained to be an extrovert, it's okay if you need to go home and take a break from people. I get that. But when you're with people, you have to be on your A game. You have to be ready. You have to be listening. You have to be just present. And it's another OP called it's a contact sport, right? Like Alexa's dad, right? Football, it's a contact sport, right? It's always funny. These kids, freshman year, they play flag football. It's all good. And then when they get that first tackle, they go, oh my God, this sucks, right? This is not what I had in mind, right? Flag football is different than real football. It's a contact sport. If you don't want to talk to people, wrong business. And there's something different every day. This is what I love, and I kind of hate it too at the same time. There is always another challenge, which makes it fun, but it also makes it a little stressful also. You guys all know what I'm talking about. I'm 20 years into business, and I still ran into a really horrible agent the other day that I had to escalate on him because he was completely unprofessional. Not what I wanted to do at 11:30 p.m. last night, but I had to set this guy straight. Like, you were extremely rude, right? You don't swear at people trying to show you houses, right? Unbelievable. He has his license before me. So I'm scratching my head and going, you should know better, right? But there's something different every day. You might have a buyer that hit a lender hurdle that you've never seen before, but it keeps it interesting. It's not boring whatsoever. Something different every day. One day you come in, you're lead generating. Next hour, you're showing houses. Before you know it, you have a listing appointment. End of the day, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And of course, being your own boss. I love being my own boss. I think you all do too. With pros and cons, but being your own boss, I think I like it because there's no one. Yvette was in a talk that I was giving to the Boy Scouts troop 719. And I gave them, hey, this is your career in tech or a doctor, lawyer, engineer, et cetera. That's definitely, or hard science, business, working at a corporation. There's always someone over you, and often telling you, no, you can't have that promotion. Well, why don't you wait next year? Or why don't you wait 3 years? Or maybe never. In this job, there's nobody to tell us that. If you're a hard worker, there's no ceiling on what you can do. When I got this book, I want to say maybe 10, 12 years ago, I looked at the cover and I chuckled. I said, Millionaire Real Estate, that's cute. What a cool name. I never in a million years imagine that this is me right now. And this is a lot of mega agents out there, and it was completely achievable. I did not know that. I thought it was a cute title. So I'm here to tell you this is doable. And in our area, with the median price of 1.5 million, it's been easier. You go to a family reunion or mega camp and you meet these poor folks in, not poor, but it's different. From Florida, and we're in the mega agent group, and he goes, hey, he asked me, what's your median price? And I feel ashamed. 1.5 million. He's like, oh God. He goes, oh, my median price is 250. And he goes, you know how many houses I have to sell to be in the same room as you? 350 homes. I go, how do you sell 350 homes? I cannot comprehend that, but he's doing it. He's got a system going in. That's why I love going to the national events, because you meet people that you never thought could do what they do. 400 homes a year, 350 homes a year. Are you kidding me? I have 80 and I'm like pulling my hair out. It's already unmanageable, but it's amazing. This is completely achievable. And there's nobody to tell you that you can't do it. Okay, there's no boss over you saying, I was telling a story, I bet you were there. Harvey can appreciate this. So I was a technical program manager. I was darn good at it too. I got stuff done. I knew how to get to the heart of people. I would make them look good. Projects got delivered on time, under budget, all good stuff. I wanted to get promoted. Unfortunately, you can only be a director or PMO, which nobody in the Silicon Valley really believes in, a director of program management. They just don't. They think they're smart. They don't need anybody. And so there's no career path for this job. So I said, I went to HR, not HR exactly, but I went to the managers or HR. I said, hey, what do I got to do to get promoted? And then I go, well, talk to these engineering managers. So I talk to engineering managers and they go, you know, Alan, you're not technical enough. We need our managers to code. So why would you want your managers to code? I mean, seriously, we have to deal with personnel problems. We have to negotiate with other teams about resources. We have to deal with promotions. That's like a full-time job. I got to pitch to my team to, directors, all these things, right? It takes all your time. But they wanted to know that you were technical enough to code. I haven't coded in a long time up to that point. So I said, okay, fine. I'm going to go to the business side. So I go to biz dev. I interview with the biz dev manager. I say, hey, I'm interested in business side. I want to do business development. Alan, you're too technical. So which one bloody is it, right? You're just telling me you want me to stick at my same job, keep my head down, and you just don't want to promote me. But let's just be real. And that's what I mean. That's what happens in corporate America. So all of you are here. You can be your own boss. You want to be a millionaire real estate agent? Let's go, right? You want to be that? Let's go. Nobody's going to tell you no. How hard are you willing to work? Are you willing to build a team to do it? Let's go. Financial security. Once you're established, the beginning is a little rough. I know there's some new agents on the call. In the beginning, it's a little rough. Let's be honest. It's not as easy as everyone thinks. But once you get going, right, that 201 database, hopefully you get 402 and then 603. Start building that database, and things get a lot easier. Okay, but as hard as you're willing to work is as hard as much money as you're going to make. I'm going to talk about the MREA model once you get the book. It's on page 202. And I'm really just going to use this picture. I love this picture. This picture basically sums it all up for all of us. I'm going to be talking through that. Level 1, for those of you agents that are solo, this is you. And it's just you, and it's you, and it's you. The solo agent, we all started here. I want to address the first question. Alan, do I go part-time or full-time? Just as I learned in MBA school, as you're used to kind of doing undergrad or high school, and there's always an answer at the back of the book. In real life, it depends. Everything depends. It depends what kind of person you are, if you can do this part-time or full-time. You could do it part-time, but you better be really good. It depends on your job. Depends on your job. So if you're an engineer that's working on a really critical component of a company and you're always under time pressure, and you're working nights and weekends to get things done, I don't think you could do this job part-time. I'm sorry, you can't. Because you just don't have enough time, and you don't have enough mind space for it, or time. Now, if you're an engineer working on a piece of code that, it's been the same button you've been pushing for the last 20 years, trust me, I used to work at Cisco. I still have friends pushing the same buttons, the same scripts that they wrote 20 years ago, and they go off and get coffee and they come back and check the results. I think you could probably do real estate part-time. You could probably do it, but do you have the, for lack of a better word, the hustle, right? The multitasking ability, the flexibility to be able to pop off at lunch and go show a house if needed, or write a contract, or at night, are you so busy with your family that you can't do that? And so when I was part-time, I was a part-time agent for 11 years, believe it or not. And through my life basically was, since I was a program manager, I scheduled all the meetings. So I could schedule when I wanted to have a meeting. So I would get most of my meetings done in the morning. In the afternoon, if I needed to bounce off, show a house, or do whatever. But most of the time I worked. So I had one laptop with 2 email clients, right? Outlook was for work, and then I had Mozilla. I don't think they exist anymore, but Mozilla, email for, and I would just toggle between the 2 of them. So I wouldn't accidentally send a work email to a client, back and forth. And I would come home and I would be writing contracts. I'd be reading disclosures. And then the weekends, I was always out. I was showing houses, or I was at an open house, or on appointments, etc. That was me. Harvey knows. I was a secret agent in our office. They never knew who I was. Who's this Alan guy? I didn't need to go to the office. I was just working all the time. So my wife would joke that on the weekend, if I'm actually home, it's weird. She goes, "What are you doing home?" Well, I guess they don't have many customers this week. All right, so, but again, you have to be special personality to be able to pull this off. The good thing is that you can kind of keep the lights on, right, as you're building your business, not have to rush. So these are pros and cons. Sometimes going full-time is better. You go full-time and it's sink or swim. Now, if I don't succeed, I'm done. And there for some people, that is a good pressure. I've always been a backup plan kind of guy. And so I did it part-time in parallel. And for me, it worked out well because my full-time job started feeding clients into my business. And then eventually so much that it blew up and I had to quit. So that worked out well for me. But I always look back and go, what if I quit full-time earlier? Would I have done better? In my life, no. Because I think everyone's life happens for a reason. In my life, my last job at LinkedIn is giving me the most customers right now. Because I was employee 350. And by the time I left, I was 10,000 people. And I had a really good reputation at the company. People knew me, they trusted me. And to this day, if you hit a Slack channel on LinkedIn, they go, "Hey, I'm looking for a realtor, dude. You need to talk to Alan Wayne. He used to work here." So I'm getting that going. So for me, it worked out well. But for you, I don't know. It depends, right? It depends on you. Do you have the hustle? Do you have the mind space? Is your job easy enough to be able to kind of multitask? I don't know. You have to answer that for yourself. But there is that component. If you go full time, yeah, sink or swim. I have to succeed. And next, then maybe you put in more effort. Yes, Harvey.
You should ask how many people in the office here are part-time or sink or swim. That's an interesting thing to know.
Yeah, folks on Zoom, can you hit the chat? Tell me if you're full-time or part-time? And who's part-time in here? Anybody? Well, yeah. Raven, cool. Awesome, one. And everyone else here is full-time. Great. I got full-time times 2. Yeah. Full-time. Cool. No right or wrong answer. No right or wrong answer. I actually like that you're full-time because you're all in. If you're all in, there's no choice. I gotta knock on doors. I gotta do open houses. I gotta call my database because I need, there's nothing that beats, there's nothing more motivating than survival. I'll put it that way. Okay. All right. When you're a solo agent though, there's a lot going on. You are everything. You're the business strategy person. You are the IT person. You're the lead generator. You're probably even the marketing person, unless you're leveraging Kelsey. You're probably doing your own accounting. You're probably even doing your own transaction coordinating. You're your own sign person. You're the event planner. And that's actually okay, depending on what level you're at. Because when you're newer, you have a little more time. And you actually do need to learn all these eventually before you build a bigger business. But I'll tell you, there's some pros and cons to different approaches. Obviously, when you're solo, you're your own boss. I talked about that already. You don't need to take orders from anybody. But you get to learn the business inside out as a solo agent. Okay.
Can you move the chat box?
Oh, chat box. This thing? Let me just minimize the top one.
In the cons bubble.
Oh, yes. Good. Okay. I didn't even know I was there. All right. You learn the business inside out. There's no headaches. You just manage yourself. It's pretty straightforward. And you also retain your commission, right? High margins. If you do get a deal, you don't need to split with anybody. Life is good. But there's also a lot of cons on the solo side too. Being your own boss, you have to find the motivation to lead yourself. This is not easy. And especially when you're starting out, it's hard because you're not seeing the results yet. It takes a bit of time to do that. So being your own boss, you got to be able to motivate yourself like Yvette does every day. Get up, mindset. Because it's really easy to just sit at home and catch up on Netflix. Trust me, I have a whole queue and I only watch it when I do the dishes. But if I could sit there and watch TV all day. But the curve's a little slower if you're by yourself. Obviously, we have a lot of support in this office. You could sign up for productivity coaching, you get support, but obviously you have to share that commission, which I think is worth it when you're new. It's a lonely business. Real estate is sometimes a lonely business, and luckily we're not a lonely office. We have a lot of support here for you. Travis does a great job of productivity coaching. We have Eric, we have Alexa, we have myself, all the investor groups. Everyone here is here to support you. Vacation. This was a big problem for me for the longest time. Things would always go wrong when I'm on vacation. Always. Or someone wants to do something when I'm on vacation. It's weird. And I remember I was in a coffee shop in Rome. I'd actually asked somebody to watch my file, but my client was a little nuts. And so she was closed 2 days early, and then she messed up the whole timeline. And then of course the guy I asked to do it, he doesn't want to deal with this lady. He's like, she's not even my client. So so I'm in a coffee shop trying to talk her off a ledge. I'm like, just relax. And so yeah, it's hard to take a vacation. You have no backup, no real backup. And then by yourself, you will hit a ceiling. I'll go over why that is. I'll tell you a story. I told you this before already. I was part-time for about 11 years. I did over a decade being part-time. I'd always do between 8 to 15 deals a year, and that was manageable. And I did absolutely everything. I was really good at transaction coordinating. That's why my team probably finds me so annoying, because I'm pretty detail-oriented on that. I used to save everything to a folder as I got it, and then I would just upload it at the end. Everything was good. It worked out pretty well. I had my own signposts, I had my own mallets. It was all sitting in my garage. I had a shed full of partial staging. I couldn't do big staging, but I could do partial staging. And my wife was very creative. It was before we had kids, so she would do a really nice job. We put out our own open house signs, printed flyers. We did absolutely everything. And with 8 to 15 deals a year, it was manageable. It was still fairly manageable for myself to do that. But I want everyone to pull out your phones and pull up the calculator. Pull up your calculator. Don't play Roblox, please, as I tell my son. So I want you to type in, for those of you that are producing, it doesn't matter, whatever your annual salary was last year, punch that in. So if you made 70K last year, 80K, 100K, 150, 500K, whatever, punch that in your calculator. And I want you to divide it by 2080. Yeah, and if you're comfortable, throw out some numbers. I can even bring up the chat here. Or you could put it in the chat. What numbers am I here? Go.
$90.
$90. Do I have 100?
$201.
201.
175.
175. 134 on the chat. Okay.
You said divided
By 2080. Sorry, 2080.
218.
218. Okay, so all these numbers you just heard basically is how much income you made last year divided by a 40-hour week of work for 52 weeks, assuming no vacations. And with that number, that's how much you're worth per hour. And this was an eye-opener for me when I did this exercise in a business planning clinic, where I remember I was dying. When I quit LinkedIn, I was dying. I think I quit in April, and by August, I had 30 deals already. I was dying. And my MCA at the time said, "Alan, what are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean? I'm selling houses." She said, "What are you doing? You are killing yourself. You don't even have a transaction coordinator." It's like, "Yeah, I can do it all myself. Why do I need that?" She goes, "You need to go to business planning clinic." And so I'm like, "It's always at Ramon. Are you kidding me? I can't spend a day over there." She goes, "You need to go." So I went, and Bev Steiner did this thing, and my head was just smoking, going, "You are an idiot, Alan." I think at the time it was $150 an hour or something. So the big thing is, if you're worth $150 or $200 or $90, why are you doing $15 an hour work? Fine, let's say it's more expensive because In-N-Out pays $21 an hour, $25 an hour work. All right, let's give it that. Why? Why are you doing that? God dang it, I'm an idiot. No, it's not. We're just used to, we know what we're doing. We just don't think about it, right? But as you sell more real estate, what you lose is time. Right? You can spend all your time. I mean, think about how many things we can be doing every day. Right? Like I said, hammering the signs. I used to carry riders in my car and I would drive by my listing and swap it. I now pay somebody $10 to do that, right? Because it's not worth my time to do that. The open house sign guy. Yeah, I spend literally an hour deploying signs. I'd rather pay somebody to do that. I do it early in the morning, much earlier than I can get up. Deploy it everywhere and people see it, and then it picks it up in the middle of the night, like 6:37. By then I'm pooped because I'm showing houses, I'm doing open houses, I'm leveraging, right? So I think it's really, really important for you to understand how much you're worth per hour and then start delegating the work that's not worth your time. So some questions on the new agents that new agents bring up. What if I'm a new agent, Alan, and I'm struggling with this? With just succeeding. I would say obviously number one, you're coming to training. So I think that's amazing. I know we have a lot of training. We had to pick the right ones to go to that will help boost your career. There is a long term here, right? You got to be ready. You're not just here buying and selling real estate. There's a long term goal you're trying to reach. Make sure that you keep that in mind. Join productivity coaching, especially if you're new. I understand it's always kind of, I don't want to split. Well, I mean, a split of 0 is nothing. And I did a lot of you calling me sometimes or other folks looking for help because I understand it's tough. But we have Travis who does this, and he has group coaching. We have support groups for each other. We have meetings. You have a support group you can plug into, especially when you're new. It's worth it. It's worth every penny that you're splitting. When I started, I wish I had all the support. I had one guy who was an office manager that I called all the time. And he did one training at night a week and it was okay, but I would just call him all the time because I didn't know what I was doing. You guys have so much support, right? Leverage it. And there's still a lot of trial by fire. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. It is what it is. No matter how many classes we teach you, it's just, you're going to make mistakes. I'm going to an entrepreneurship class this evening, not class, but my teacher's house for a gathering, Berkeley gathering this evening. And I remember him teaching me all the things to avoid in a startup. And Yvette knows this. I built a real estate CRM, similar to Command, and I made all the mistakes that he told me not to do in that class. It's hilarious, He said, "Go fast, right? Make your first product quick." We took 2 years to build the first alpha, right? He said, $0 of nothing is, well, 100% ownership, but $0 is 0. Well, we did the same thing. We said, "Oh, we don't want to give up ownership," so we didn't raise money to move faster. Made that mistake. So, sometimes no matter what I tell you, you're still going to make the mistakes. But hopefully you get a nugget out of here or two and avoid a few along the way. But sometimes we just don't learn until we fall. That's just how we are. The other option is new agents join a team. I'll talk about that in a bit later. Leverage. I talked about leverage in a little bit here, but basically as a solo agent, try to leverage what you can. But I'll talk a little bit more about that, your dollar per hour. Partners. I want to talk about partners. This is one I hear a lot. And it's because a lot of people don't want to go it alone. I get it. It's scary. It's daunting. And so a lot of new agents go, "Hey, let's team up. Let's go. Let's team up. It'll be fun." Understand? It would be fun. But I want to talk about pros and cons of partnerships because I've seen this over and over again, and I want to address this. Of course, together we're giant. Right? Two of us, are better than one. We're not lonely. Right? We're doing things together, so it feels like we're more accountable. We're moving forward. We're sharing the load. There's a backup in case I go on vacation. And hey, we have synergies. I'm really good with people. You're really good with tech. All right, let's go. This is good. This is good. Unfortunately, I've noticed majority of partnerships fail. And number one, of course, you got to pick the right partner and who that is. The big question is, do you share the same goals and do you share the same work ethic? This is where I've seen the biggest differences. One person's usually running harder than the other one. Right? One person's coming into the office every day and the other one's at home watching Netflix. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I think a lot of you can testify to this. But the big question is, what do each of you bring to the table? Why are we partnering? Partnerships have to be a win-win, just like real estate negotiations. And so there's got to be something I'm bringing that and you're bringing that the other one doesn't have. But that's a real partnership. I'll give you an example. Maybe I'm really good with people, but Simran's really good with technology, right? Or I'm not good with ops or any of that. And so if we partner, then this might make sense, maybe, right? Even then, I don't know, because think about it, you don't need to necessarily split half a business with someone who's building your operations. You can pay a really good admin to do that and not have to share half the business with them, right? So really, I think about this. And then the one I see the most is what happens when one person starts producing more than the other. Because it's impossible to be 50-50. So what happens is you go, hey, all right, we're partners, we're gonna go half on everything. And you're closing 75% of deals from your sphere, the other person's not pulling their weight, or maybe it's just hard, it's not that easy. And they're only bringing in 25% of the business, and then the 75% is feeling shafted because they're only getting why is he getting half? I'm doing 75% of the work. And so this happens a lot with partnerships. So be careful, really understand there's often a kind of a win-lose in partnerships. Yeah, I really want that person because they got a big network. Okay, well, yeah, but then you have to really think about the effort and the goals and the ethics and work ethic, really. And ethics is another thing. But you have two different people from two different walks of life in different situations. It's never exactly going to be even unless you are both brand new to the Bay Area, you're teaming up to canvas an area, neither of you have any advantage. You're doing all of it together, and this is a whole new business. Awesome, maybe. But still, each of you are going to meet, one's going to meet more people than the other one. You're not always going to be together. Husband and wife, that's always an interesting one. That might be a little bit easier. I don't know how y'all do that. My wife and I admitted that we cannot work with each other. It is not possible. She would just override me on every decision and then be like, okay, well, why don't you be the boss, right? But I've seen some husband and wife teams work really well together, or husband, wife, whatever, partners. They all work, right? They all work. Some of them do. Some of them do. You got to know if it's going to work for you or not. I know it won't work for me. Yeah, Larry's laughing. Yeah, Larry. When do you need to make that first hire? So now we're talking about solo partnerships, etc. Slow down a little bit. I think for a lot of us, we have to have a proven success track record before we start going and hiring too much. First things first, you're consistently growing and performing. You feel like you're spending too much time on your tasks that's preventing you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is lead generation. But that's our number one job. We could spend, every day I walk in here and Mark's like, what do you do at work? You're always so busy, you don't have time to talk to me. In each moment, I'm being pulled so many directions. And you all know this. I've got 3 monitors, right? I got iMessage for all my text messages. I got Slack. I got my email blowing up. I got a Safari browser. I got a Chrome browser. I've got LinkedIn people pinging me, Facebook Messenger pinging me. I've got iMessages coming in. I've got my phone blowing up. I got my assistant talking to me. My emails, coming in. And I just got like a control center here because it's just, without that, I couldn't multitask. Then I got, people walk in, hey, can I ask you a 5-minute question? Totally cool. And then I got a client calling, hey, I'm thinking about selling. So I stopped by lead generating. Of course, I'm going to talk to them. Then I got a title company calling, like, hey, I need the trust. And then, my TC is going, please sign that document. It's a mess every day. So we could definitely spend all of our time doing everything but lead generating. There's a cool book I'm listening to on Audible. It's called The Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster. He was a realtor, which was kind of cool. And he said, I am going to measure how much time I spend doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I said, every time I lead gen, I'm going to turn on my timer. And every time I don't, I'm going to stop. He goes, I worked a 14-hour day. I'm exhausted. So he goes back and he checks his timer. He goes, 14 minutes? Seriously, though, isn't this us? We can be derailed so easily because it's just the nature of our business. And it's funny because I think if I did the same thing, it would be the same. Like, I think I'm lead generating, but all the other distractions are preventing us from doing what we need to be doing. And so, yeah, Larry knows what I'm talking about.
He does 14 minutes, still make 500K. Like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know how much he made, but exactly. But imagine if we spent 4 hours doing what we're supposed to be doing, right? So, as I said earlier, if there are tasks that can be done at a lower cost than you can do them, then you should outsource them. But again, you got to make sure that you're actually spending your time doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? It's not for you to go and stay home and watch TV, right? It's for you to go and get more business. And there's always these tasks that you're not good at anyway. I've seen most realtors are awful at transaction coordinating. So why are you trying? You guys are awful. You guys missed that, DocuSign tag. You forgot to tag that one, and then the compliance lady's chasing after you. Why? Why do you torture yourself to save? It's funny, when I was at Century 21, I had a broker who he said this to me, and this is why I did it. we respect our leaders a lot, right? Said, Alan, I said, well, it's only, I don't know, $350 for transaction coordinating. Because yeah, but that adds up. And so he had a limited mindset, right? Small thinking, right? He's counting the pennies. And so that's why I didn't pay for training. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because if you think about it, 350 times, I mean, look at us. We pay our TC like $45,000 a year, right? But if we took 80 times the 3 hours it takes me to get this done right, that's a full-time job for me. And I wouldn't be lead generating, I wouldn't have 80 deals a year. Right. So and the time those 3 hours per deal that I don't spend doing that, make a lot more money by doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is lead generating, meeting people, talking to people, closing deals. Right. That's what we should be doing as realtors. And so it wasn't until that MCA, it wasn't Stacy, I wish it was, but it was different MCA, sent me to that class that I really, really understood that. After that, I outsourced everything. I found a sign company to hang up my signs. This is all they do. They drive around with their pickup trucks and they nail your signs in. You want a rider change, you just put in a ticket and they come, they swap the riders. Does it cost a little bit of money? Yeah, but not that much. It's all that total $100, $125 by the time you're done. Why do it yourself? I have open house sign guy that I use to deploy my signs. Right? And you know why I do that? It's marketing, because people see me everywhere. It's a lot of money. It adds up. It does. But I don't want to be cheap on it. I tell my assistant, she's really generous about with me not wasting money. But I told her, you know what, this is in our farm. So let's not go cheap on that, because this is marketing, right? It's not just wasting money, because I don't know if you knew, yesterday I handed out the key to a client in Belmont. He goes, I see your signs everywhere. I saw it in Sunnyvale last weekend. So this marketing thing is working. I go, hey, I see you everywhere. I see you everywhere. But if I were to do each of those myself, no, that'd be awful. My guy gets up at like 6 a.m. He deploys it for a couple of realtors, and it's great. So again, obviously you need to leave revenue first. And that's my next slide here. Yes, sir.
Just comment on, as far as you doing that consistently, the busier you get, your quality of what you're doing goes way down. So your skill level of TC goes way down the more deals you get. And
exactly.
And then you're not getting the business back because of that professional.
The stress of showing houses in the morning, eating in the car, and then getting to a 1 p.m. open house. Well, you have stains all over your shirt. I even carry Tide pens in my car, and then trying to deploy the open house signs before the open house I'm literally drenched in sweat before I even get to my open house, right? Because I'm doing it. Yes, Larry.
I think you make it really good point that for you, like you're a top producer. You have a lot of things coming here, so you already got this kind of finesse, right? But when we talk about like beginner agents, and mid-level agents who transition want to be a top producer, they don't have really a playbook.
No.
They hear it all the time.
Sure.
People say like, who do I call? What do I do? At what stage can I do this? And then sometimes when you're beginning, you kind of feel like this is the report because I've never done it. I don't want to do it all the time.
But again, you're absolutely right. We're in the level 1 section, right? So you're still new. You're not that busy. Okay, let's be honest. So you can get there an hour early. You can deploy your signs. You don't have to be stressed. As you get busier, that's when that's what I'm saying. Lead with revenue, right? If you're a $50,000 producer, you should not be spending money on these things. You can probably figure out a way well, I mean, depends, right? If you know that, hey, I'm going to not do these little things and I'm going to spend the time lead generating, I know it's going to make me more money, then you should. But if you're in the negative right now, then you should deploy your own signs, right? You're new, it's okay. You can do that. So you gotta know where you are. Thank you, Larry. Yes, Yvette.
I would say in between what Larry's saying, what you're saying, I also think your mindset has to be when you're a new agent. And I know you're gonna get your systems in place. Every single thing you do once, you should mark it down. So if you are a new agent and you are doing you should always do your first 3 transactions. Your mentor.
Oh yeah.
Your first 2 transactions so you understand what it takes to do that. But after that, it's $450. I know somebody here might say, $450, I need to hold on to that. But if you said it again, limited.
You're limiting yourself.
Limited belief. You don't understand that if you let go of that $450, now you're on doing the money-making activity versus the $450 is not a money-making activity.
Exactly.
Right, so you do have to have that mindset, even if you're a brand new agent, there's some things you need to let go of from the first year, because that will create time for you to do the money making activity.
Exactly.
I mean, that's exactly what I did my first year, is I let
Yeah.
it go.
Yeah,
So you can do it in your first year, you can let it go.
absolutely. If anyone wants to sing, please go and sing it. Sing it. You want to sing it, Yvette? Let it go. No. All right, level 2, and that's you. Good segue. So level 2 agent is where you're looking to hire kind of your first assistant. Okay. And I would say the first one is barely really, I mean, almost table stakes is your TC, as Yvette just said, because that's the immediate one. You don't, you basically, let's see, this has got to be your first hire. Right? I don't even know if it counts as an assistant. I mean, it really is almost table stakes. $300, $500 will save you 3 to 4 hours, depending on how fast you are. Maybe you can do it in an hour or two, but those are all precious time, right? Think about all the numbers I heard here. I heard a lot of $200 per hour folks, right? So can you keep banging this out in 2 hours? But as Yvette said, that's not a money-making activity. I'd rather you attend, events and rub elbows and do open houses. That's revenue-generating activity, right? Calling your database is revenue-generating activity. Tagging DocuSigns, not really at all. Zero value add. I mean, honestly, to revenue-generating activities. And it's a variable cost. So if you don't sell a house, you don't pay, which is great, right? I mean, there's no risk. You don't hire a full-time TC to sit there. You don't have to. I mean, even I don't do that. I still pay variable because as the market's shifting around, well, trust me, I've been trying to find even VA talent, but this is hard. This is a specialty. These TCs, they know the contract inside out, often better than we do. So wait, which form are we supposed to use for that? They go, oh, RLAS. Oh, okay, good, thanks. Right, we don't even know. Hey, yeah, it's like, hey, I want to adjust my commission, and you do it on an addendum. No, that's not the forms. Oh, sorry. You know what I mean? And they'll set you straight, right? Because they know those forms so well. They protect you. Yes, sir.
But just the clear on one thing is like, they don't help you on the verbiage. You gotta talk to your legal source or broker to come up with the verbiage. They help you, let you know what documents needs to be in line.
Exactly. They just guide you. Yeah, we have to write it. No, they're not going to write it for you.
And that's why you need somebody with experience if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. And this is not our forte anyways. Paperwork is generally not our forte. Now, getting that first assistant out of the way, actually, I need to add, let me just go next here. There's one more I'll add in the second level that is a little bit outdated in our model, is the virtual assistant. That's an interesting one too, I would say, that would really help you in level 2. Our virtual assistant, again, you still got to train them, still got to help them, but before you go and hire a full-time person, the VAs can help you a lot. I'll tell you what some of our VAs do. Our VAs you email them, I want you to download disclosures on this property. So they know we have a Dropbox structure. They named who's the client for, Jack and Jill. Here's the address. They create a disclosure link in Dropbox, and then they email it out to the customer. Boom, done. I want you to run a quick CMA for me. Now, the CMAs are hard. They're hard. So what I usually have the assistants do is just within a mile radius or half radius, right, within a certain amount of time. And there's a little note in there that says your agent will tune this for me, for us. That's it. But you know how you go to a showing and they kind of just want some data?
Yeah.
And so just give them the data. I'll hit my calendar, I'll email the assistant group and say, hey, please run a quick CMA and download disclosures. And then boom, I go off to the next. So then our buyers have something to chew on, at least. They want the ones that want to go and read the disclosures, go ahead. I'm actually not going to spend 2 hours on that until you tell me you're really going to buy the house. But if you want to do it, go ahead, knock yourself out. Here you go. Right. And I tell them that. I say, hey, I'm not going to dive into that until you say, Alan, I want to write because I really dive deep. So it'll take me a few hours. I'm not going to spend that time if you're not serious about the house. Okay, I understand, Alan. But you could go ahead and knock yourself out. That's okay. And you get it done fast. Right? Our virtual assistants have learned how to schedule showings. So I say, hey, I'm starting in Mountain View. I want to end in Almaden. Here's a list of 6 homes. And, basically they punch into Google Maps. They see how much time it takes. I want 10-minute showings each or 15-minute showings each. And then they go. I want to start here and here. So they know how to juggle it around. And hopefully, between the showing instructions and the distance, it generally works out. Right? They do that for us. Our assistants can generate a contract for you to approve. They obviously cannot write it, it's just blast it out. No, they send a draft, they send a PDF, and they say, Alan, please review, or Simran, or Jennifer, or Ruben. So we review it before, and if we approve it, then they send it to DocuSign. Then they pull the pictures and however you want to do your stuff into a presentation, and they send it. Right? But you have to set this up. Right? However you're doing it, you need to train them how to do it. So our VAs do a lot for us. I mean, anything I miss, Ron, that they do for us? Open house updates. So all you guys do open house for us. You send it to our admin team. They summarize it all up and they email it to our seller. Why do I do this? I mean, from my perspective, I would like to have a weekend if I can, once in a while. Yes, sir.
I think also hiring a VA first, it sets you up that much more for success when it's an actual in-person hire, because with a VA, you like you were saying, you have to have those systems,
Building a system.
everything organized in that sense so that you can teach them remotely.
Exactly.
And then when you have the person here, it makes it that much easier.
Exactly. And this VA, it's your guinea pig, right? You're testing it out. You're making sure all your systems are intact, because you're training somebody remote is even harder than here in person. But that requires you to really hunker down and get that done. So that's a great point.
How many VAs do you have?
I had 3, let go, a couple of them are gone. We're rebuilding it with 2 right now. The reason we're doing 2 is we need a weekend coverage, at least a little bit on the weekends. So we have 1 during business hours and 1 that covers nights and weekends. And we had 3, but it was kind of a lot of overlap. And so, and
They back each other up.
they back each other up. Well, there's basically the one works our regular schedule. The other one comes in a little bit at night, kind of 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. because, we always have things to do, right? And then Thursday, Friday off. We have to have 2 back-to-back days off, and or Wednesday, Thursday off.
In this case, we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, like 4 days, but somewhere with it.
Yeah, but they circulate it, and then there's some weekend coverage, because for us, we have a lot of open houses. What I did was I hated the text message, like, can you give me an update? Can you give me an update? I was like, okay, relax, we'll get you the update. And so basically we just tell them, look, after the open house, we will be sending you the update by email. And so our assistants will consolidate all your feedback and then bring it to them. Okay, level 3 training. So as you head into level 3, I want to say you're a business owner now, and don't take this lightly. It's a big responsibility. I've noticed that great agents are often not business owners or managers. We're really good with our customers. We're really good with people, but we're generally pretty horrible at training somebody on how we do things. We don't have the patience to do it. We don't spend the time to do it. We don't understand our profit and losses. We don't know how to build systems. It's tough. It's something that I've noticed that agents are not good at, but it is a growth opportunity for all of us to learn how to be a leader. And it's a shift, because you're not only just managing yourself anymore, you're managing somebody else, and you're also leading somebody else. And you need to grow into that leadership position. And this is what building a team really means. Yes, sir, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm going through right now. I'm in level 3. And what I find that the challenge is that it's not like you're not to be good at it. It's just you're so into the deals that you're working to.
Of course.
You didn't put on the side
Yeah.
to be able to work on the business.
Correct.
You're within it and trying to just,
Correct.
time is money.
Time is money. You're busy. You're busy. Yeah.
You're busy, that's
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. It's more of, we're so slammed. And again, how many years have you been doing this, Larry?
Since 2012.
On 12. Okay. So I've been doing this 20 years. My assistant reminded me yesterday that, you all moving at lightning speed, but remember, you've been doing it for 20 years, Alan.
Yeah.
Right? It's not fair, right? To like say, I want you to go this speed, right? When it took 20 years for us to get to that speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously by now it's like back of your hand, right? But somebody new, we have those same expectations, but it's not fair. And I think we do that a lot, right? To our VAs, to our assistants. I mean, there's a lot to learn.
Teach you patience.
Yeah, and we have to find patience, and also the assistants have to also be self-starters and ask questions, and a lot of YouTubing and asking other people, for help, and like forcing you to sit down and say, hey, I need this time for you to tell me how to do this.
Determined.
Yeah, you gotta really just get in our face, right? I know poor Tedra has to deal with 4 or 5 of us that never carve out time, and she's poor thing. She's like, and I totally get it, right? We're all so busy. But now you're a business owner and you're a manager. First things first is your shopping order, right? I mean, if you're hiring an assistant, okay, where's this assistant going to sit? Are we doing a remote deal? Is your technology ready? right? I mean, yeah, you're using your KWG mill, that's cool, but now that you have an assistant, you have to figure out how to create a team, you know, a team dynamic where if that person leaves, the emails don't disappear, right? Are you creating distribution lists so you can reach both of you? I mean, what are we doing here, right? Are you using Slack? If you're with your VA, how are you going to talk to them? Are you going to give them a Google Voice number? Right? These are all things you kind of have to stop and think, okay, wait, it's not as simple as just handing a cell phone to somebody here. And what happens if that person leaves? How do you recapture that number? Do you have one password kind of across everything where you can change quickly if somebody leaves? Because imagine a security hole. And so all of your systems, have one password, and then if there's compromise, you have to have a list and go and change them all, right? So things you have, if somebody leaves on a negative note, you better change that password quickly before they go and start sharing stuff on your social media. That's not good, right? It's all these security things you got to think about. Payroll, another thing you got to think about. Right now, you got if you're at a certain point, I mean, making 150, 200K, and you're doing this. You're hiring this assistant. Is there a magic number, Eric, that they have these days for when you should hire your first assistant?
As far as how much money?
Like in the model, yeah.
No, it all has to do with you and your business and growth.
Correct. So if you're projected to grow, then
Our region too, right?
yeah, by region.
Yeah.
Yeah. Around here, I think if you're at 150, 200K and you're looking to take your business next level, and you know that if you got rid of all these things that take up your time, and you hire a 50 to 75K assistant, or maybe 100 might be, maybe you can start part-time. VA is a no-brainer, but that's not hugely expensive. You can get a half-time one for $800 a month, or a full-time one for $1,900 a month. But so that payroll is easier because those companies, do a 1099 contractor kind of deal. But if you do end up having a full-time assistant, it begs the question, okay, well, should you also be on payroll? This is a question you need to ask your accountant. You should pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. And then on top of that, you can add your admin onto your payroll. So that's, big question. Do I use ADP? Do I use Intuit? Those types of questions, right? Then there's insurance and liability. As soon as you hire that full-time person, you better have some workman's comp insurance, get all that in order. And then you might think about, do I want to get incorporated? And, these are all questions for your accountant. S Corp, what makes sense? Yeah, yes, sir.
So just gonna put, I tell you, hiring an assistant that's, has adequate background experience, it's about 60 to 80K.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus you got to work with comp and all the insurance and benefits. So it's kind of mandatory now after a certain amount of time,
Mhm.
you get active benefits. So you're looking about 100K.
100K, yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
And you get a good, a decent,
Mhm.
and that's not high level yet.
Not high level, yeah. You're right.
So it's not high level for one actually.
It's tough.
It's tough, yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And your business is never guaranteed, right?
No, and at 50 to 60, even 70, I haven't found amazing candidates either.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, because you think about it, we're minimum wages today, and
Yeah,
in-house paying you 25 an hour.
yeah,
You're looking at between $30 to $40 an hour for an assistant, so I'm like, gosh.
correct. I mean, at Taco Bell, you could manage Taco Bell for 100K a year.
Yeah, 100
I'm just 150 maybe even now.
Yeah.
Right, so it's
Yeah.
And obviously a manager is different, right? But again, these things you could hire the assistant to set up for you as well. By the way, I'm not saying you have to do it all, but you do have to have a plan as to how you're going to set this person up, right? And even if it means saying, well, hey, I don't have all the answers, but hey, I'm hiring you to go figure it out.
And train them.
Yeah, and train them,
And
right?
trust them.
And trust them. It's a lot. It's a lot. But you're a business owner now.
Yeah.
And so it's more responsibility. Profit and loss is another one. I think most people use QuickBooks anyways, and you can hire consultants from Intuit or QuickBooks or Quicken, et cetera. They have these consultants that can set you up. So at least that can be outsourced, that I know as well. Process and procedure, that was brought up earlier as well, that you really, we all know in our heads what needs to be done, but it's nowhere on paper generally, right? We had the listing steps in our head, most of us. We know exactly what is, but it's not on paper anywhere. And so we expect these poor assistants to read our minds, and that's not reasonable. And so we really have to spend the time, okay, whether you sit in a room with them and just go and just tell them and they write it, or you write it, and that needs to be improved. So that system needs to be constantly improved. We're always improving our listing. We're always learning something and we're always adding to it. So you have to have a source of truth for that. Larry mentioned training. Again, got it. We have to carve out the time to do that, because you're right. We're always doing deals.
Yeah.
And if we don't carve out the time, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And then coaching them as well, right? Either getting them a coach or coaching them, they need guidance too. You need to spend the time. One of my assistant and I, we meet once a week, right? 30 minutes, but I need you to sign this check, right? I need you to, yes, Eric.
You made that point about, leading revenue, and I think at the top of your circle, as far as what we're responsible for as a single agent, the first one is lead generation. You have training and coaching down there, which is your time going back into that person.
Correct.
And the reality is you want this person to be able to give you time back.
Exactly.
So it's that much more important that if you're not a lead gen based person where you feel like you have enough leads and you're generating them at a higher clip, and now you're going to get time back. So that means more leads are coming in.
Right.
If you feel like that's not going to happen by hiring this person, then you may not be getting.
You got the wrong
You may
person.
not be making the right investment, or you have the wrong. Yeah, you have the wrong person.
Exactly.
So you have to be a lead generation machine first and foremost to be able to earn the right to
Correct.
get that time back in your.
Correct. So I think a good 30, 60, 90-day plan would be good for your assistant. They say, hey, I'm going to be training you on X, Y, Z. And I expect you to hit these milestones. And by the end of 90 days, I should not be, helping you with these things, right? You should be able to, at the end of 30 days, do these 5 tasks and then all onward. Reid Hoffman, I love this man. He was the executive chairman at LinkedIn. Now he's off doing bigger things. An entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on his way down. That's kind of how it feels sometimes in our business. It's fun though. It's a lot of fun. I think I've grown a lot as a leader, both being a real estate team leader as well as running this brokerage. And it's been painful. It hurts sometimes, and I learn a lot. But I think it's made me a better leader, and I'm still going. I think even Yvette and Stacy mentioned when I started, leading this office, it's not. I had a lot to learn. I'm still learning. So I think if those of you that like to grow your skill set, amazing, a lot of fun. Marketing / administrative assistant. I want to talk about this hire. This person is that full-time person that's your anchor, your right hand. This is the most important hire you will ever make. This person is going to run your shop. This person is going to offload you so you can go do your revenue generating activities. They actually kind of had to know everything, although sometimes you can outsource certain things. For example, on our team, we're meeting with Kelsey in a bit to do some of the marketing, because that's not every admin's forte. I mean, sometimes marketing admin are very different skill sets, and actually sometimes you'll see 2 different people on the team doing that. Sometimes you get the one that might be able to do it all, but most of the time the administrative assistant can kind of take a template and manipulate it, but creating new content is a skill unto itself. And so handling at least basic marketing, listing presentations, inspection scheduling, paying bills, CMAs, disclosures. I mean, very much they're doing everything. My assistant helps check up on listings, checks for the handyman work and all that, and I do the final check. She might go a couple of times before I go at the end and make sure that this house is ready. By the time I get there, I should not be catching anything. Right? I should not be. Yes.
Do you have a listing coordinator, or do you use this person as your listing coordinator?
Because of the pandemic, we lost our in-office assistant. And so I ended up punching that job to my virtual assistant. And she is our listing coordinator now. And we just kept it that way because she's so good at it. But it was because of the pandemic. Prior to that, the in-office assistant was the listing coordinator. But it doesn't really matter who. I mean, they're doing a good job. So yeah, no, my virtual assistant is our listing coordinator.
So are they offloading some of the to-dos, such as lock boxes on there because they're virtual? They can't be here. Are they offloading that to the agent who's running?
To our in-office assistant.
Oh, so when you're in-office assistant, then you can run and put a lock box on.
With the bicycle lock, so that I don't have to go and unlock the stupid shackle thing.
So that when Alan comes to the picture, like he said, he's doing the final check. So even seeing what Alan wants to see is what I have had to learn. And I'm not even perfect, but he will point out and give feedback saying, someone on the pipe needs to be rolled out of the way for the picture, things like that.
It's really hard. So Simran basically will deploy, well, she'll check up on the handy person about twice. Then staging, cleaning, then she'll check in on the staging and cleaning, make sure that doesn't look ugly and it's not dirty. She'll send them back if they need to. By the time I get there, the listing kit, Kenny knows, it's all deployed, it's all under the sink. The lockbox is wrapped with the bike lock. Like I said, I don't like going to undo my shackle. So we have a bike lock that we lock so that she can grab it because she's not no active key, right? So again, I'm trying to save every minute I can, right? Every minute matters. And so she's got that all set up. If there needs to be 2 keys, right? Combo, regular, all done. So by the time I get there, it's the little things, but again, it's still a training. I think sometimes we've been doing this so long, right? The little things such as, this door lock, we better tape it because if we don't, someone's gonna keep leaving it, open. This is the Anderson door. Most agents don't even know how to lock that door. So I gotta leave a note there, explain to them, pull up, turn, be gentle. It's just, trust me, right? Otherwise, they leave it open and then some homeless person breaks in and then they're camping at a house overnight. Well, we've all been there, but all of that's experience, right? And so it's hard to, I do my best to give it the experience to Simran so that she knows toilet seats should all be down, right? But a galley might be really dark, so we might want to put up the leave the lights on sign. There's a step down that people are missing. We need to put down a blue tape. It's all these little things that are hard to explain until that situation happens. That's it. But that's why Simran's here, because there's a lot of that running around that needs to happen here. The VA can't do it all. If I were to fly them over every time, it wouldn't work, right? So we definitely need an assistant here. And Larry covered this as well. I've had $50,000 assistants. I've had $70,000 assistants. I found around here the sweet spot is probably about 100,000 until you get a decent.
So that's for a decent person, because I find like the brand new people, it's like 50,000, $45,000-$50,000 on like some minor stuff, but when you start moving them up, you have to go up from there. But you've got somebody who's operating on that Simran's level. Yeah, I can see this.
This is a very hard role to fill. It's a very hard role to fill. Very hard. And I'll give you my top 5 mistakes. Number 1, not establishing a 3-month probation or a 30, 60, 90. Sometimes we just kind of jump in and go, hey, go. Right? But we don't have a plan. We don't give them milestones to hit. And actually, we're going to do this with our new VA. Actually, we have a 30, 60, 90 plan. And then the other one I made a mistake on is hiring that assistant who, I'll be your assistant, but they really just want to be an agent. Which, again, nothing wrong with that because they want to learn from that seat. But you're going to spend a lot of time training this assistant. If they really just want to be an agent, then just train them as an agent. Because you're going to train them, they're going to get great, and then they're going to go because they're going to see the money, and they're going to, I'd rather make that much money if they're capable. What I've noticed with most assistants is that it's not in their personality profile to be a realtor, right? Because they're usually S and C's. So I'm very detail oriented. I'm very compliant. Alan, all that stuff you do when you're meeting with clients and you can just on the fly have a script. That's not me. I need a script for everything. And then if you have to script everything, then that's not going to work. And a lot of us, we have we just know what to say. With the situation, we could read the room. We have high EQ, but sometimes the admins, they're like, hey, just give me 10 steps. Right? I don't even care why. Just give me 10 steps and I'll bang through it. I'll get it done. And so I noticed that not always the right profile for the different roles. And so when you guys run your KPAs on your folks, you'll see that they'll say, hey, this person's fit for being an agent. If they're more fit to be an agent, then you might want to ask a question. Hey, do you really want to be an assistant, or do you just want to learn from that seat and then eventually be an agent? You want to decide if you really want to. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to train them and then they're going to be a great agent for your team, then during that time you can hire a bench, train the bench. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, if you're banking on that person and you're going to spend a lot of time, it may not be the right thing. So just bear in mind. Ensuring the right fit. This is a classic mistake that we make. We interview somebody, oh my gosh, I really like them. They're so nice. We like the same things. They like Star Trek. I like Star Trek. I'm going to hire them. Woohoo! Not the best way to interview. Just because somebody's like you, that's actually bad, right? If someone's just like me, they're probably a realtor, right? They're probably not a good admin, right? Because they're just too good with people, right? And nothing wrong with that, but what I want to hear from my admin is the attention to detail. Hey, I want to build a system for you. Right? This is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to be able to learn something quickly. When you throw me something, I'm going to go figure it out. That's what I want to hear. I don't need another realtor. I got myself. I go talk to people all day long, but I need somebody who can get things done. And so the personality test will tell you that. Right? Their DISC profile will tell you that. Their KPA will tell you that. What is this person a fit or not in the role? We talked about underpaying. We're not going to go there. And we talked about investing time to train. So many mistakes I've made in this process. One of the KW family reunions, they said your assistant ceiling should be as high as yours. So remember, we're talking about building a business, and we're talking about building empires, right? Which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build big teams with an empire. If your assistant has the low ceiling, then the team is going to hit a ceiling, and we got a problem, right? If your assistant's not able to grow as high as you can go, then our team's not going to achieve the levels that we're trying to get to, right? For those empire builders in the room. Very important. Remember, this is your most.
I understand that.
Okay.
Break that down a
So
little.
we all have, every human being we have our ceilings as how much we can grow to, right? And so your assistant ceiling should be as high as yours. Because this is the person you are building an empire with. So if you know they have limits to their ability, or you discover that they're just unable to grow as much as you can, remember, you want to try to hire people that are even better than you, right? Especially in building an operation. They should be able to say, hey, Alan, you know what? I know you built that system, but I got a better idea. I checked out this software, and I think it beats what you built right here. I didn't know that. Wow, cool, go. Let's do it. Right? I didn't even know that existed. Right? They're knocking the ceiling off whatever you could do even, but they can grow with you because they can think at a high level, or they can build an empire with you. If they're hitting ceilings here, or if they're the types that just hey, give me 20 tasks and I'm gonna get done. That could be a good second assistant, right? Third assistant, but not your primary assistant, because your primary assistant is in charge of operations. And those operations need to take the team to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Some lessons learned from Alan. I hired out of order because I didn't read the book. The first person I hired was a buyer's agent because I was so busy with buyers. So I immediately hired a buyer's agent. And because the agent was new, I started at really low splits, and I kind of kept inching up. Hey, you did so many deals. I'll give you a little more. I'll give you a little more. Looking back, that wasn't fair to her, actually, the way I was doing that. What I really was feeling was, yeah, I want you to be a showing specialist, but and I need your help there, but I don't really want to give you more of the pie. That's kind of what was a mistake that I was making there. I probably, put it for too long. I should let her earn a little bit more as she was going. But at the same time, I was spending a lot of time training her as well. So what I should have done was, and Gary has said this, and it's not in this book, but it's the new model is keep hiring assistants until you can't anymore. The reason is that when you have an agent, you're splitting a lot, right? Think about how many deals around here it would take to pay an admin the same cost, right? And so it wouldn't take very much to add up to the cost of an admin or a virtual assistant with the splits to a buyer's agent. And so if you follow the model, I've seen people on family reunion stage, one agent, mega, 6 assistants. And all she does is go on appointments, listing appointment, buyer's appointment, listing appointment, buyer's appointment. And she shows, the home somehow. I don't know how she does it. She must not do anything else but go on appointments, show homes, or do open houses or list homes. She must not do anything else because she has 6 assistants. So probably every minute of her time is used wisely. Pretty impressive. Right? Because if she had gotten 3 buyer's agents, she'd probably lose a ton of her income. Right? I'm not saying that's the right answer, but I'm saying it's possible. You should exhaust the VA, the TC, the VA, the assistant until you just can't anymore, right? You just need that leverage. I told you I hired a part-time assistant that wanted to be an agent. It was great at first, and then once I started giving her leads, she got too busy to be my assistant, and that was bad. She would feel bad, I would feel bad. We both felt bad, and we had to go hire another assistant. There's nothing wrong with that. I was proud of growing her into an agent. Very proud of that. And we ended up getting a good assistant to come in and help us. And I was proud of that. But it was, in hindsight, I'm not sure it was the best thing. I mean, it all worked out because at the time I didn't want to pay for a full-time assistant. I wanted to test it out and make sure it worked. So it was a win-win, but that was possibly a mistake. Personality fit for being an agent. So again, remember I said sometimes the admin role, the SNC, this person I had to, because they're SNC, I had to script the heck out of everything for them. And as soon as the scenario changed, the person was not able to adapt to the question. And so I got a lot of complaints from very powerful customers. And so in the case that I had, it was a female, nothing wrong with that. But the other customer was also a female, but she was a lawyer and she was a big personality. She ran over this agent of mine, just ran her over, and complained to me. She doesn't know anything. Why you assign her to me? And I had to take it over. right? I'm just saying, sometimes that assistant may not be a perfect fit to be an agent sometimes. Again, we can work around it, but for me, it worked most of the time for the new customers, first time home buyers, the ones that weren't so strong personality, it actually worked out. But for the ones that, were, because some of our clients are like directors in tech. And so I had to really start figuring out, okay, who do I give to which agent? Because I can't hand a director to this person. That was my fault. Because I was just round robining. Okay, one for you, one for you, one for you, one for you. But it has to be a fit as well. Too busy to invest time, and yet I'm disappointed in the results. That's my fault. If I don't invest the time to train my assistant team, I'm to blame. And then criteria. Okay, I'm gonna move next. All right, questions. I'm gonna pause a second. You guys have been jumping in. I appreciate that. Take a break, drink some water. Any questions before I jump on? Okay.
More of an observation.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm in the middle of that level 3. And it's tough because, I look at you and I look at your personality. I mean, you and I, we know each other very well. And so I know that you can juggle a million things in your brain. You see, all the time, I'm not a juggler of a million things in my brain. I'm a juggler of certain things. I can manage people and stuff, but when it starts getting into the S&T stuff, not me.
Yeah.
So when you also know that I got a partner up front, and it was one of those, you're in your early years,
Yeah.
and you were just like, I just don't want to be lonely.
Yeah.
And somebody's asked me to partner, and I go, I like this person.
Yeah.
Great personality.
Yeah.
I think that you don't even know them.
Mhm.
You don't even work on some deals together. I notice in our office, we've got a lot of people working on deals together before they form a partnership.
That's a
So
good
they're
idea.
learning. And I think it's so smart watching them do this. I was not like that.
Mhm.
And then I ended up having to go backwards. How do you, I think it's hard to ask you this question because I think you can handle so many things at once. But try to imagine you're not you, right? And you're somebody who can't juggle all of this admin stuff in their head and deal with it without losing some of your business, stepping backwards, right?
Yeah.
To move forward.
Sure.
What's some of your recommendations to those of us who are there and we don't quite have the skill sets to, handle all of it? I look at you, you handle all of it.
Yeah.
I also know you're kind of ridiculous. You don't sleep much.
What's that?
Seriously, he and I were talking at 11 o'clock last night on the phone, and he just doesn't sleep.
I was working. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's your advice to those of us who are not Alan Wang? And I'm being very serious about this.
No, I understand what you're saying because I joke with my team all the time. I go, this is not normal. I'm not normal. I'm undiagnosed ADHD is what I am. I'm pretty sure I am. And I tell my team all the time, it's not fair for me to expect you to be able to switch contexts as fast as I do. It's not fair. It's not normal. I think it was, that it was always a negative rating on my elementary school report card. This guy has no self-control. He's all over the place. It's my biggest weakness and it's my biggest skill. But to my admin team, I would say, that's not fair. I think most people multitask quickly. This is what they train themselves to do. They do one thing and then do it after they do one thing and they just parallel sequence it and they go as fast as they can, right? And so the ADHD guy is all over the place. Right? So my advice to you would be, as I said earlier, if S&C is your weakness, now my team hates me because they don't hate me, but they must hate me because I used to be an operations guy. I was a operations management information systems major in college. I built these systems in tech. And so I annoy the heck out of them because they're like, Alan, let's do this, that, and that. I go, nope, you can skip, steps 3 to 6 and you can just go 1 to 7 because this is, they're like, what? How'd you see that? Right. And I feel so bad. I'm sorry, I said wrong. But I would say if you're needing an S&C to help you build the system that you need, you don't have to partner with an agent to do that. You just hire the VA first, have them get started, right? And even if all they do is sit on Zoom and you just brain dump on them. For me, I love checklists. I love checklists. You do too, right? So the more of those little boxes, the better. Just bill, and keep making it better. right? Build, and keep adding, keep tuning. It's not gonna be perfect, but eventually it'll just keep growing and growing and growing. And then you have your system that maybe your VA can do, or maybe you need someone here to do with you. I don't know what the right answer is. But you can try with the VA first because they're a much cheaper resource, and start building your system. Then that can be handed to the next person, right? This is how I do my listings. This is how I do my buyers. It's the same process almost every time. And then, I forgot to mention the VA also updates my command as well, because I forget who I meet with, because I'm meeting with so many people, I forget. It's got to go in command, because when I go lead generate on Thursday, which is supposed to be today, by the way, which trickles into Friday, I want to remember that I had that listing appointment.
How do you deliver that information to the VA? I know you're not writing again, are you? Are you writing again, or are you dumping it virtually into a?
So the team knows, because everything I do has a calendar invite.
Okay.
It will say listing consultation, and I'll add my admin on there, and they know I have a listing appointment. That needs to go into command.
Okay.
I have a
got
buyer
it.
consultation, that needs to go in command. I don't know if the team really knows that, but
Okay.
No, we do.
okay, good, just checking, yeah, I'm kidding, but they do. And so that needs to go in command, because I don't want to forget, right?
Got it.
Yeah, I don't want to forget.
Simple email, CC. I love that. I mean, I'm not even thinking that way,
Yeah.
so that would.
It's not even the email, it's a calendar block
Yeah,
that you have to do, or else you forget.
I love
I tell my
that.
assistant this, is that I can't remember everything I gotta do. It's gotta be on my calendar. If you look at my calendar, it's funny. At 7:15 a.m. it says, tell Katie if you need lunch.
Yeah.
Right. Like every little thing, pick up son at 4:15. Is that on there? Forget it. I'm not going. I don't remember. It's impossible. I don't have enough hard drive space in my head.
I think that what I'm in need of, and Eric left the room, but I will say that. Oh, came back and never.
Second time today, someone said it in Sierra.
Okay, so stop it. So, that's where I think I need to work with him. If I'm a level 3 agent, there are these holes. I need somebody to coach me, even to get a coach, whatever it is, right? Get to the next
Sure.
thing. Because I feel that stuck. So I can see right now, you're giving us some suggestions that are incredibly helpful.
I hope
It
so.
makes me realize that I need to sit with somebody like Eric
Mhm.
to get me in the right direction. He doesn't have to sit there and coach me on
Yeah.
everything, but he needs to get me go in the right direction, the
Right.
right coach, and the right
Yeah.
situation, because I'm feeling stuck.
Yeah.
When people feel stuck long enough, they
Yeah.
quit.
Well, that's why we have Eric.
Yeah, so I'm saying this because I know that a lot of people, sometimes they're not speaking up. They're not saying the hard things, and I just want you to know, at a level 3, and I'm making decent money. I have no complaints on the money I'm making,
Mhm.
but I am stressed. And at some points, depending on what's going on in your life, you go, I just wanna quit. And people go, why would you wanna quit?
Yeah.
Well, because I have to
You're
do
hitting a wall. Yeah.
here that you're telling us about, so I need some help.
So we did an exercise with Gary Keller. He teaches a class in Austin called Leadership Academy. It's fantastic. And it's all around, like, you do one day with Gary Keller, and day 2 is if you're looking to lead an agent team, you go into a thing with him and Jason Abrams, or if you're trying to lead a market center, you go into one room. So he had us draw a check mark on our paper. So imagine in your head, you draw a check mark. At the middle point of the check mark, the beginning of the check mark, that's where you put individual. At the bottom of the check mark, you put group, and at the top, you put team. And as you're an individual, this is where your productivity level is. And there are lots of times where people think, oh, if I get more people, I'm gonna turn into a way more productive thing.
Yeah.
But what really happens is you're actually a group at that point. You're not a team. You're operating like a glob, as some people say, but you're not all in sync and all in motion. The systems aren't there, the model's not there.
Yeah.
Maybe the talent's not there, or maybe the talent's there, but you guys are kind of going in different directions.
Mhm.
So productivity goes down. And when productivity really goes through the roof, that's higher than being an individual. It's when you are actually like acting like a team.
Mhm.
But I would say most people, especially because how big the real estate industry is now, when you're at that group level, you're like, this sucks. This is way too much time. It's way too much money. I'm going back to individual. And then they stay in individual, and then they stay at that spot, and you're gonna hit a ceiling in individual because you only can do so much yourself. So that's like the kind of the circle of life when it comes to teams and groups and individual is you have to find that sweet spot, the right people, the right systems, and then you're off and running.
Yeah, there are days I do wish we can go back, just do it myself, much easier, but it's impossible now, because I know there's no way in heck
No way.
we can sell what we do. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't miss. I don't miss plowing through a listing checklist. I don't miss driving every buyer around. I don't mind driving a few around, but I could not drive the amount of buyers we have. I can't drive 40 buyers around a year. It's impossible. It's impossible. And my team, I mean, Jennifer and Ruben, they do an amazing job with our buyers. Probably better than me. And I love it. I love it. So, all right, let's keep moving. So level 14. So this is where I am. I was a level 4.5, maybe, pretty much. And then I had to dial it back, as Eric said. There was a point where I had 4 agents under me. 4 agents under me, and I do two-way players that can do either one, but they were mainly doing buyers. My listing business wasn't good at the time, so I grew too fast and I shoved myself into level 5. And that didn't, I went too fast. I found a couple of free agents that I thought were amazing. And then I dialed it back to level 4. So level 4 is when you kind of bring on your first buyer's agent. I currently have 2 buyer's agents right now, and then a referral agent on my team, heavy on administration staff. So TC, and then eventually it's gonna be three assistants. Okay. Number 1, when you're building a team, you're the rainmaker. The rainmaker is the one that brings in the business. That's your only job, really, actually. If there's no leads coming in, then you should not be building a team. Honestly, if you don't have enough leads for everybody, everyone's going to leave. Right? The rainmaker's job is to bring in the business. A buyer's agent. So this is when you bring on your first buyer's agent. I mean, it all depends. You could do showing specialists, but I mean, if you're going to get a buyer's agent, get a buyer's agent, right? They should be beyond opening doors, hopefully, but that you could start them there at a lower split and call them a showing specialist. They should be showing homes. They should be able to run CMAs. They should be able to advise customers, read disclosures, inspections, go to the sign off, do the walkthrough, hand off the keys, and manage crises. These are your buyer's agents. They should be able to handle these eventually. Okay, you might need to work them up to that level. I have a couple of models. I have the full empowerment model, or I have the doctor model on my team. The full empowerment model is I get a lead that comes in, and actually these days, whether I know them or not, I know Jennifer and Ruben can take care of them. So I actually don't really do this much anymore. But in the previous model, if they were someone I didn't really know at all, I would just assign it to Jennifer and Ruben. They would just go. I wouldn't even be a part of it much at all. But sometimes I do the doctor model. But my team's so good right now that the doctor model is not even needed. So the doctor model means I might meet with them, the first buyer consultation. I'll introduce my team, and then I'm kind of gone. And they don't even care. Jennifer and Ruben is so good. I don't need Alan. It's amazing. It's liberating for me. I love it. But before I would maybe show up to this or that, and I would even try to go to the sign off. But my team is doing such a good job representing our brand. They don't even care if I'm there, which I think I've won if that's the case. I've done a darn good job. If our customers are still happy, coming back, referring, and they don't mind working with someone that's not named Alan Wang because it's all part of the team, same culture. I think I've done something right there, right? If that's the case, which I'm really proud of that. Again, you got rookie agents, mid-level agents, and senior agents. Let's talk about the new and mid-level agent. Why should I join a team? If you're one of the folks that are thinking about this, I mean, first question I say, why not? Right? If you're a solo agent consistently performing, then you don't need to be on the team. Totally fine. But there's a huge learning curve. So if there is room on a team for you, then definitely do that and join the team, because you can learn from the best. You're going to cut a lot of that learning curve down, because you're going to be basically fed the system to follow, and it's a lot easier than learning on your own. A lot of agents learned this. I had a team member join me because they quit their job and they were hoping to, they're hoping to start their own business, and there's too much to do. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do all that. I'm really good at closing business, but lead generating, not really my thing. For me, that's a win. I'm good at lead generating, but I don't have enough hands to close all this business. So that's somebody I would plug into the team. The paycheck is steady, because if you have a rainmaker that's constantly bringing in leads, your paycheck is going to be much more steady than you try and do on your own. You also don't have to set up all the systems or manage a business. I mean, I've been setting up our system for over a decade now, and we're still making it better. And literally just plug in the listing, boom, and it goes, right? Our coordinator and Simran, the two of them, it just gets done. There's a little bit of interaction needed, but it gets done. You don't have to pay for the expenses. It's actually a pretty sweet deal to be on a team. The rainmaker is covering all the expenses, all the marketing, all the events, the TC, and you're splitting. I mean, how amazing is that? I think some buyer's agents probably make more than their own team leader sometimes. And I think, Eric, you've seen this.
I ran the team that did that.
You ran the team that did that, right? It's like, whoa, and sometimes you're a team leader, what are we doing? And that's what happens when a team gets too big. I'll talk about it in a second. And then, your service leads to close and it's trainable.
Real quick. Al,
Yes, sir.
Back on what you were just asking.
Yes, sir.
So even if can you go back one slide? So even if you're saying this is for an agent or a new agent or a mid-level agent to say why I should join a team. For the opposite, this is for a rainmaker right now. This is what you need to have that you're attractive enough to have talent actually join.
Exactly. You have to have enough business and you have to have the system. Again, I'll talk about dollars in a second, but you have to be bringing value as a team for someone to plug into you, right? It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And as the team, actually, you took that's okay. You took the sales out of the win out of my sales. No. So why would you want to start a team? When you get too busy to handle, especially the buyer business, that's the one that takes the most time. I could crank a lot of listings at one time, but I cannot drive that many buyers around. Right? And so it's just taking up too much time. You just can't service it well. Good time to bring on a buyer's agent at level 4. You could be lead generating or working on listings, doing that instead of driving buyers around. But driving buyers around is rough. It is a lot of time. And then if you want to free up some personal time on the weekends, you might want to do. You might need to, because we can always get leverage for open houses. Right? You can train them well. You can create the system and go. All of the open house agents in this office know what we expect from the open house, and they never embarrass us because we know, hey, our seller might walk in and test you. Are you ready? Here's the FAQs. Are you ready? We've had that on Hampton. Our seller loves coming by and testing everybody. She loves doing that. And our agents are strong enough and they know enough and they're professional enough to know what not to do, right, in an open house. And that's based on the years and years, Yvette, of the same client yelling at me about who I put in there. Why are the lights off? Why are the toilet seats down? Don't have this guy host my open house again. He was late. Oh gosh, yeah. So all of those are on our little cheat sheet now.
But those people teach us, right?
They do.
I like the people who come at me because
Yeah.
ultimately they make me better in my business.
Yes, and this lady does one transaction with us a year, and she is tough. And she has not complained once about any of our open house agents in this listing. So again, I'll take that as a win, but it was rough. We could, of course, do well together. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, economics. So new agents, I have to say this, okay? A lot of you all say you want to join a team and you come and talk to us. We have to have enough business for you, okay, to bring you on. Like for example, for our team, we're pretty solid right now with the leads that we have, the 2 that we have right now. KW is the pioneer of teams. So if you're joining a team, again, there's certain structures, you shift to half cap. I mean, there are rules. If you're already here and you join a team, you wait a year before that kicks in. Because that you want to make sure that's going to work out between you two. But if you do join, you get a half cap. And yes, the split is usually 50%. It sounds hefty, but why? He or she who generates the lead, that's the hardest thing to do. Actually, that is the hardest thing to do. I've trained almost anybody to close a lead. If you follow my system, you will close any lead once I get it for you. Okay, but getting that lead is hard to do. You have to set up a system, you have to develop trust, you have the reputation. There's a skill to doing this. And so that's why there's a 50-50 split. And on top of that, remember, your rainmaker is covering all the expenses as well. So really, you're just coming in, you're closing this deal. Now, as a rookie agent, you might get paid as a showing agent by hourly or some smaller split to open doors just for the chance to learn. That might be the role you start in. It might start from anywhere 15, 25, 35, 50. You might have a tier to work through, depending on what you work out with the rainmaker. Remember, you are getting the time of a rainmaker, someone who's been doing for a lot of years. That is not cheap at all. If I were to charge for every hour that I spend with people, it'd be over $1,000 an hour. That would be how much I would charge. And so you're getting that person's time and that expertise, which is rare. Consider yourself lucky. Mid-level senior engineers, again, those of you rainmakers that are hiring mid-level agents or senior agents, you got to make sure they're the right fit on the team. If they are, there's a little shift in the model that Gary talked about. It used to be 50, 50, 50, 50. And then Gary realized, you know what, if you're on a team and you generate the lead, just take a cherry on top, just take 25%. For the mid-level senior agents, if they generate a lead, that'll keep them with you. Because if they generated the lead, you know, just take 25, don't take half. That was a new thing that Gary came up with a couple of years ago on the model. Again, remember, Rainmaker's paying for fees, the marketing, the rent, office equipment, the assistant, transaction coordinator, technology. The Rainmaker sometimes makes less than you by the time the game is over, which, you know, you gotta be careful of that. It's the Rainmaker. As you're building a team, we grow too fast and we do a lot of things. Let me, a few lessons I've learned. I'm moving fast because we're at time now. The one thing you need to really realize is that the first thing you should hire for is worth ethic, bar none. I don't care if you're a PhD, I don't care if you're a director in tech or a VP in tech or just an engineer. Does this person have the work ethic and desire? That's number one. If they don't have that, it's not going to work, because this business is hard work. Yvette, you know this. I work till 11:30, not that I want to. There's just always, there were a bunch of leads popping in my email box last night. So I had to respond because I was trying to get a meeting. I got to do that. That's what I got to do. And I was following up with some of the leads that I had from the event I went to last night. And so I want to make sure I get those things done. But it's that work ethic that'll make millionaire real estate agents. Hiring the superstar is actually a red flag. I've done that a couple times now. Hired a couple people that I thought, oh, they're awesome. And they both barely stayed a year. And it's because they thought they could do it on their own. They didn't, they made $250K a year and they still weren't happy. Power to you. I probably shouldn't have hired them in the first place. You don't belong on a team. You want to pave your own way. You should do that. Right? Don't join a team. So I think really look for that why. Why do you want to join a team? What is it? And then also you look at them, are they worth the investment? Because you're going to invest a lot of time into training them. Are they worth it or not? And my big lesson that I've learned is that I have to find people that really fit the team. As I mentioned, I have two team members. One is a mother with 3 children and a great taking care of parents, grandparents. Not a lot of time on their hands. They don't want to build the system. Right? They're doing a great job. They're making good money here on our team. And for them, this is perfect. I don't require them to be in the office. As long as they take for a client, I can care less. Yes, Kenny.
There's also like a lot of dynamics of being on a team too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're not good with accountability, like if you're on investing and you don't like accountability, it's gonna be a big problem.
You don't want to be with me.
Right.
Yeah. Every team has its own culture as well.
And the chemistry is important too. Like everyone's got to work well within that same group.
Mm-hmm.
We all got to speak that same language.
Yeah.
Too.
You're right.
If you don't like accountability, then don't be on the team.
Correct.
Like for us also, it also has to be where it has to be collaborative.
Yeah.
Right. Like you share your success. And
Extremely collaborative.
I like that. To add that.
You also have to overshare your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of being on a team.
Correct. And I think that's what was frustrating about a few hires I made. They weren't collaborative. They were just about themselves. Right? They wanted to be, they wanted to be the stars. And sometimes, hiring superstars, it doesn't always work out. And it's actually more and more I won't do that anymore.
So I've seen you go through actually from the very first time you became,
Mhm.
You full-time, all the way to where you're at right now. And I appreciate your honesty so that we're not having to make the same mistakes. Because I've seen the superstars that you hired. And then I've seen the people who are very appreciative of what you bring to the table, no matter what it is, at whatever level, even if it's not rainmaking, you bring that collaborative spirit. You're always teaching them. There's always something for them to learn
Mhm, mhm.
from week to week, because this business, every transaction is different.
Exactly.
So I see it more than just being a rainmaker. It's also what you bring to them.
Sure.
Your team, I've seen that, the collaborative
Mhm.
thing, and also making, everybody needs to be a part of something.
Absolutely. We're running out of time, so I'm just gonna talk about level 5 team quickly. I mean, basically you bring on the lead listing specialists as well. And eventually where we want to go with this, I don't want to be necessarily working till 11:30 every night. I'm not quite there yet. And eventually I want to be here at level 6 and level 7 where, let's go level 6 first. I want to eventually be a CEO where everything's in place. I have people that are doing listings, folks that are handling buyers, folks that are handling the listings, transaction order, everything's moving along. And perhaps I'm just kind of there to support and watch the numbers and make sure everything's flowing, culture and training and all that. And eventually I want to go and become a 7-level team where I'm just the owner, but I actually have another CEO running my business. Right? That would be absolutely amazing. I do want to end with this. I know we're out of time. A few of us had the pleasure of going down, and again, sorry, not everyone could go, and there was only a few spots, and some of us found out about the very last minute. We went down to Anaheim and met Elizabeth Doe, who is a level 17, and I was so inspired by her. And this is her org chart, and it's kind of hard to see. I pulled her aside in a room, and I was telling her about kind of where I'm at, and I was very honest with her. I said, "Hey, how much are you bringing in?" And she said a certain number, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's me too." And then she said, "But Alan, how much of that are you producing on your own?" She says, "I only do 20% production because I just want to keep busy, but I don't produce that much." And I'm oh god. So basically, I realized that she has streamlined her operations so well that she's making same money I am, but really just managing and leading, and her team is generating an income for her. And that's where I need to figure out how I want to get, all of us too. How do we get to a level 7 team or a 6 team where we're just kind of overseeing everything, but the systems are working so well that the team is going, right? And that requires setting a culture and accountability. So for her, it's interesting because if you look, she's got a property management arm, which I don't know if I ever want to build that, but that's great. She has an executive assistant. She has a sales department, an HR department, a finance department, and operations department. And she has strong people in each of these departments, the ones that are needed to manage. And so I guess she manages the sales group. And then there's a few agents that she keeps, some core, some juniors. And then she's got operations, and they basically just run off. So this Diana woman is amazing. She's just on everything. She's got a great culture, amazing. I mean, kind of crude. I mean, our team uses Google Sheets, but talk about accountability. They have boards mapping everyone. How many appointments did you go on? How many conversions did you make? Because she's just using the Keller Williams model. She said, "I'm not doing anything different than what's in here." And she's got goals that they're trying to reach. And it works because everyone's coming in, they're all staring at the board, they're kind of friendly competition with each other. And it just all works really well. And I am in awe. And for me, I'm trying to get here. My job right now is to build a listing business to the point where I can hand it off to a listing specialist. And that'd be my next goal personally. But we all want to get here, right? We don't want to be working forever, do we? No. Our goal is to build the system, process, team, culture, so that we can step off and let them run, and then you take the profits off the top of it. And that's the way that we should be thinking. All right. So, all right, 7 minutes over. Any questions?
Yes, I have question, Alan. I have question. Yeah, because I never joined a team, but that may be a silly question. What is the difference between joining a team and in-Travis class?
Oh, difference between productivity coaching and joining a team?
Yes, because
okay.
We got training.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I think productivity coaching is, I mean, there's a minimum of X amount of transactions that you do. You get your start, and then you could continue, right, as a growth agent, or you could go off on your own, right? It's meant to be a launching pad. I mean, Travis not paying for all your expenses. He's not doing that. I mean, unless you choose to do that with him. A team is much more committed, right? It is literally, I'm the rainmaker. I'm giving you business. We have a split between us. You're on our team. You're working. You get first preference on all of our open houses. You know, I'm training you. I'm coaching you. I'm guiding you. Right? It's a much deeper relationship, I would say. I mean, productivity coaching, you do 3 deals, you can move on, right? You don't have to stick with that relationship. But on a team, you're kind of really tied to each other, right? At least for the time that you are together. That makes sense?
But you do feel like that's the beginning of being on a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking loud so she can hear.
Mm-hmm.
But because he is a team.
Yeah, he is a team.
Within a team, right? So he's got a team of agents together. You get an opportunity to learn together from your joint classes.
Correct.
That's very much like when you're on a team, that's a feel. And so you now get a feel for what it could be like.
Correct.
to decide, do you want to move forward with that?
Yeah, it's a little different because again, you're plugging into a system of coaching you, especially new agents along, and you have a great support system and everything. But it's a little different because our team, we have our own goals. We're trying to take over this area. Right? We're trying to, our goal is 100 and, sell 100 homes this year, right? And we're each trying to achieve that together as a group. We have events that we're all expected to go to, right? And represent the team and our team. I mean, the productivity coach, it is a team, but a little different. You're not necessarily, all right, hey, all 10 of us are going to go and, I don't know, take over this little area here. Everyone's split up. I mean, it's not exactly that way, but I just think it's different. I think as a new agent, I wish I had that productivity coaching program, because then you have somebody you can lean on in the beginning when you're really struggling to learn. I think that's the thing, and you have a mini team to do that. But each team has its own culture, its own goals that they're trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yes, maybe.
Well, hi, this is Brushali. One thing I can add to the productivity team versus joining a team, what I feel is productivity team, it has a system to teach agents, whereas I feel if you join a team, they have their system to get listings or represent buyers. So that's a big difference, what I personally feel.
Actually, Vishali, you just said it right. If you're in productivity coaching, you're trying to launch yourself as a solo agent, is what you're trying to do. You're getting started, you got a great support group, you can continue as a growth agent if you want, but you're trying to launch yourself. If you're joining a team, then you're supporting that team's goals. That's what they're trying to. Of course, you're gonna make a good income, a good living, etc. But you're not necessarily calling the shots. Right? The rainmaker is, and you're aligning with their vision, and as a team attacking that goal. It's a little different.
A rainmaker is helping you focus on closing deals, like she said.
Mm-hmm.
Travis is helping you understand the business at a higher level so that you can run it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That
is the difference. Yeah, thank you, Vishali. You triggered that in my brain. That made that one. Other questions? Zoom or in the room? All right, everybody. If there's nothing there, I hope that was good. Sorry, I ran a little over, but I love the engagement in the classroom. So thank you so much.
Actually, could you just
Yes.
tell them, when we went down to see Elizabeth Doe,
Mhm.
she said she read a book 9 times
Mhm.
before she joined Keller Williams. This is a person who's truly doing level 7.
Mhm.
She's in California. And the book he's holding up is A Millionaire Real Estate Agent. She said, I read that book 9 times before I even joined Keller Williams. That convinced her, and she executed when she joined Keller Williams, following that book to a T. And she says, look, guys, you keep going to classes, you keep wanting to learn all these special ways, and it's really simple. You've got to follow the book. And then when you're on a team, there's an accountability to something. Hopefully it's to the book, not on my team, but I want to get there. So I think it's really important that we realize that we constantly, even when you leave this class with brilliant information, you're going to still keep looking for the easy way, because that's the way we are as human beings. But there is just follow the system, do the uncomfortable, do the unsexy, and follow the system. I'm speaking to myself again.
Which is great. This is why you're here. And we all need to do that. I think we make it too hard on ourselves. All right, everybody. Thank you.
I'll add one last comment can I make? Generally, when we go in, even in high schools or in professional, we have a shadow day. We train what it looks like to reach that particular stage. So in our office, I know there are solo agents, there are agents who have TCs or virtual agents. Can we have something like shadow day to look for what they are missing if they are not going to level 2 or level 3? So somebody who is in level 2, can they shadow someone who is already in level 3 or level 4?
We can try. It's always a little tricky because it's always kind of weird to do that. It's because, for example, if you want to come with me on a listing appointment, it's just kind of, trying to explain who you are, why it's hard, but I mean, we can try. I mean, I think first step is, definitely talk to Eric and Alexa and see what's missing and see if we can help there. I mean, I'm not opposed to shadow days, but I think it's just, it's hard for me to know exactly when is the right scenario for you to be learning. I think that's the hard part. I don't always have a CMA that's being run. I don't always have a contract being written. So my days are different every day. So it's kind of hard to do that. But I mean, chat with Eric first, see what makes sense, see what's missing. And if there is a way to shadow, I'm sure we have investors that might be going somewhere. I don't know. It's just, I always find it kind of strange to just bring someone to a listing appointment and they don't really know, they have no value. I used to take my assistant, and then even then they never said anything. And it's like,
You always have to address the other person.
exactly. And then, or both of us talk way too much, and it was just really distracting. So
But Travis will go on an appointment with you.
Yeah.
So he will, and I'm sure he has no issue,
Mhm.
Bringing you along on an appointment.
and shadow open houses are definitely okay, right? Because we always need backup at those. So I think there are opportunities to do that. I think we're just gonna figure out which ones make sense. That's all.
Sure, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, bye now.
Thank you.